Now let's be honest, we've all been there, playing a duelist about to drop an insane ultimate, but then of course there's a character like Luna Snow, Cloak and Dagger, Mantis, or even a character like Invisible Woman. But don't worry, today I have you covered, as I'm going to be going over how to counter each and every strategist in Marvelrivals, whether that being different strategies to outplay them, or even some hero direct counters. And if you're new here and you enjoyed the content you see, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, it's the best way to help me out. But onto the show. Now in many games or narratives where characters have defined roles like healers, tanks, or damage dealers, healers often become prime targets due to their ability to sustain their team, and Adam Warlock falls squarely into this trope. Now his healing abilities make him a crucial support figure, but they also make him a high priority target for enemies who want to cripple his team's survivability. However, what makes Adam Warlock even more vulnerable is his lack of mobility. Unlike some of the other agile strategists in Marvelrivals, like characters like Invisible Woman, Cloak and Dagger, or even Loki, who can get out of harm's way pretty easily, Adam Warlock doesn't have any of these tools to quickly reposition or escape when under attack. This means that with any hero with speed, stealth, or flanking abilities can easily breach his defenses. Characters who specialize in quick, high burst attacks like assassins or fast flankers, so for example characters like Psylocke, Black Panther, or any other dive characters can easily exploit this weakness. Once they get close enough, Warlock's healing powers can't save him if he's overwhelmed before he can react. This combination of being both indispensable and an easy target creates a dynamic where Warlock must rely heavily on his teammates for protection, particularly tanks or defensive characters who can shield him from harm. Positioning also becomes critical. He needs to stay at the backline, constantly aware of his surroundings to avoid being caught off guard by a sneaking or swift adversary. And because of that, some of his biggest counters in Marvelrivals are none other than Venom as the Vanguard, as he can easily dive into the enemy's backline and really burst down in Adam Warlock. Then you have duelists such as Black Panther, who are heavy dive characters who have high burst damage. You also have characters like Star-Lord, who could really shake up Adam Warlock, followed by Magik. You can throw Iron Fist and Spider-Man in there as well. And of course you have Psylocke. These are all characters with high mobility, high burst damage. Now in my opinion, one good way to counter Adam Warlock is actually having a Loki on your team. An enemy Loki could also be pretty tricky since he could copy your ultimate and revive his whole team if he's smart enough to do that. It's kind of like you're playing a mini game within Marvelrivals. It's all about who's gonna revive their team first. So just a little bit of a recap, what is the best way to counter Adam Warlock? First, high mobility characters is a definite counter because he lacks the necessary mobility. With that being said, a majority of the heroes that have high mobility are his biggest counters, as well as a lot of the flankers in Marvelrivals. For the most part, it's rather straightforward. Now, Cloak and Dagger has cemented their position as a top tier strategist in Marvelrivals, particularly after the impactful buffs they received in Season 1. Their unique synergy as the duo of darkness and light makes them incredibly versatile, allowing them to dominate both offensively and defensively in a match. Now, why are they so popular and why do we need to counter this character? Well, their combination of healing, debuffing, and crowd control gives them unmatched utility on the battlefield. Now, besides continuously banning this character in Diamond and Up lobbies, here is how you can practically counter this dynamic duo. Now, one of the first characters that I believe is a great counter to them is none other than the football superstar himself, Neymar Jr., otherwise known as Neymar. Now, Neymar is an excellent flanker who can put the pain on Cloak and Dagger. Neymar's ultimate can kill Cloak and Dagger through their ultimate when paired with CC ultimates. Apart from being the king of anti-dive and an excellent zone controller, Neymar is a deceptively strong flanker that can shred through the enemy strategist's health pool in a flash. The same can be applied to Cloak and Dagger if Neymar manages to set up both his turrets and land a right click on Cloak and Dagger. Cloak and Dagger players will either have to drop Dagger Storm or seek help from other strategists to stay alive. Now, this lethality is further amplified if Neymar has Luna Snow as the team up empowered turret, slows and deals extra damage. Neymar is also one of the few heroes who can actually one-shot Cloak and Dagger through their ultimate, which a lot of people still haven't seemed to catch on to. Now, this one is my own, personal take, and people might not necessarily agree with at first, and that is Black Panther. Black Panther can quickly burst down a Cloak and Dagger, as well as he can also reliably get away from Cloak and Dagger if he messes up his combo. Black Panther is another dive hero that can cause big problems for Cloak and Dagger. Similar to a character like Psylocke, Black Panther can close the gap on Cloak and Dagger and burst them down quickly with his dash resets. Now, even Dagger Storm, which is Cloak and Dagger's alternative fire, which is the healing AoE, isn't reliable at countering Black Panther due to his high damage output and stickening power. If he uses his ultimate, Bass Descent, on top of his original combo, a Cloak and Dagger player will be in a rough time unless they can massively dodge the Wakanda's king attacks. Now you could say Cloak and Dagger, if they're in Cloak's form, can easily melt a Black Panther with a primary attack. Well, that is true in some senses. If you have a very good Black Panther player actually know what he's doing, then the Cloak and Dagger player might have a rough time. Now, a strategist that I think works extremely well at Cloak and Dagger is none other than Loki. One being the fact that Loki can copy Cloak and Dagger's ultimate, as well as Loki's runestone is a great way of contesting space claimed by Cloak and Dagger's ultimate. I mean, I guess Loki can technically be considered a counter to any strategist, as he can steal their ultimates and even the odds. Additionally, he can steal a Magneto's ultimate, which is the worst possible thing for a Cloak and Dagger player. Loki's runestone is also a great way to reclaim lost space from Cloak and Dagger's ultimate or nullify their damage potential when they are on their ultimate. If Loki players are feeling a little bit spicy, they can always flank and try to create chaos in the enemy's backline. Now, another great example of a Cloak and Dagger counter is actually Winter Soldier. Winter Soldier can hook Cloak and Dagger out of their ultimate for a free kill. Winter Soldier can also burst down Cloak and Dagger with his ability rotation. Now, his Bionic Wrap is one of the best crowd control abilities in the game, and hooking a Cloak and Dagger into Winter Soldier's team is a certain death for the latter. To make things worse, Winter Soldier can grab Cloak and Dagger out of their ultimate's area of effect to kill them. Another thing is Cloak and Dagger's only escape tool is Cloak's secondary fire. If this is on cooldown, they are a prime target for Winter Soldier's ultimate to kick things off. All these things make Winter Soldier a frightening opponent for the bringers of hope and fear. Now, last but not least, we have none other than Magneto. Magneto can one-shot Cloak and Dagger during their ultimate to cancel it, as well as Magneto can reliably block Cloak's Terror Cape and knocks heroes out of Dagger's Dagger Storm. Honestly, Magneto is the best answer to Cloak and Dagger at the moment purely due to his ultimate, otherwise known as Meteor X. Like I mentioned earlier about Loki, Magneto's ultimate can one-shot a Cloak and Dagger during their ultimate, which completely cancels them out of the fight. Now, you do need to charge up this ability a little bit, and you don't have to wait for Cloak and Dagger to finish one of their dashes and then immediately throw your giant meatball or meteor, whatever you want to call it. Now, Magneto can also block some of Cloak and Dagger's important spells. The Master of Magnetism also has surprising burst damage that can catch a Cloak and Dagger player off guard, making him the go-to tank to deal with. And that's how you pretty much effectively counter Cloak and Dagger currently in Marvel Rivals. Are you tired of skipping meals or grabbing junk food because you're always on the go? Well, say hello to Control, the meal replacement shake that actually tastes amazing. Now, whether you're grinding through work, gaming late into the night, or just need a quick nutritious boost, Control has your back. Of course, packed with all the good stuff: proteins, vitamins, fiber. You'll feel full and fueled without sacrificing flavor. Oh, and did I mention the flavors? Cinnamon Toast, Fruity Flakes, cookies and creams. It's like your favorite childhood cereals, but grown up and good for you. Now, not only that, they also have a wide variety of protein bars and even protein cookies, with my personal favorites being the peanut butter pieces cookies and of course the peanut butter s'mores protein bars. And let me tell you, these peanut butter s'mores bars are amazing and they're always sold out, so you should definitely get your hands on trying it. So stop settling for bland, boring shakes. Level up your nutrition at drinkcontrol.com and take control of your day. That's drinkctrl.com. Go get yours now and make sure to use code DUCK for 10% at checkout. Now, the Invisible Woman is already proving to be one of the trickiest strategists and Marvel Rivals to deal with, considering this Fantastic Four member is able to turn invisibly automatically when not engaged in combat and can also regenerate her health in the process. When it comes to countering Invisible Woman specifically, though, these are the Marvel Rivals heroes and villains who possess abilities that allow them to counteract her unique powers so that she doesn't end up becoming too much of a problem for an entire match. Now, one of the heroes, in my opinion, that counter Invisible Woman extremely well is none other than Groot, and that's because Groot's walls protect allies against her force physics abilities, as well as Groot's alternative fire, Spore Bomb, can also reveal Invisible Woman's position. If you didn't know, force physics is an ability that allows Invisible Woman to either push or pull an enemy depending on whether she wants to throw them off the side of the map or draw them in for the rest of the team to take aim at. Now, it can effectively disorganize an entire team used in right hands, but one character who can prevent this is Groot. Both of Groot's walls will immediately block Invisible Woman's force physics along with her regular projectiles, which can be used both for healing and dealing damage. Additionally, Groot can also use his bouncing cluster of Spore Bombs to catch Invisible Woman red-handed whenever she decides to conceal her identity. Now, the Punisher is another really solid counter. Hopefully, most of you know by now that when Invisible Woman's allies start to get a little too low, she will pop her Guardian Shield in front of said ally to heal them up even more. Now, Punisher can obliterate his shield in a matter of seconds, especially with his culling turret or just shooting it. It only has 300 HP, so it's rather easy to take care of. And if you're having trouble finding an Invisible Woman, when you pop Punisher's ultimate and you kind of just shoot and spin around in a circle, eventually one of the auto aimbot robot rockets will end up hitting the Invisible Woman, making her get revealed and you easily shredding her down. Now you also have characters like Winter Soldier who can hook her into your team's backline and easily get rid of her. And you also have a character like Squirrel Girl who has a ton of AoE damage that can easily reveal Invisible Woman as well. But just like Cloak and Dagger, Magneto is another case of being a super effective counter with his ultimate. When Invisible Woman pops her ultimate, all allies get healing, within the shield, which certainly is true, but you're not invincible. So if Mr. Magneto, were to summon his giant meatball, just like Cloak and Dagger, if he gets into the shield and manages to find Invisible Woman, he can easily nuke Invisible Woman and the shield disappears. It's actually rather effective, and a lot of people still are very scared to fight in the enemy's shield. But let me know your own personal counters for these heroes in the comments down below. Now, because Jeff is a strategist, he has to be sadly included in this list. Now, I wouldn't say Jeff is the best strategist in the entire game, but he certainly isn't the worst thing in the world. So here's how you pretty much deal with him. Using most ranged attackers may not work well against Jeff since he can swim away using one of his abilities and become pretty much hard to hit. So typically you want to let melee characters, deal with him. Characters like Magik or Hulk, heck, you could even throw Wolverine in there if you really wanted to. But if you wanted to use a ranged character, you could try going Black Widow or Hawkeye who can one-shot Jeff or bring him closer to elimination. And if teammates get swallowed by his ultimate, you just need to quickly eliminate Jeff and you're completely fine. You can also block Jeff's ultimate by a number of different things. You have things like Namor's Blessing of the ability where he turns into the bubble and becomes immune to, all CC. You also have Magneto's bubble where he can place it on himself or his allies. You have different characters who have different iframes like Star-Lord who can dash to the side and you're completely fine. You can also use Magik as an iframe with her teleport as well. I mean, the list goes on and on. I mean, it's actually really easy to deal with Jeff. He kind of reminds me of like a penguin from Madagascar. He's kind of just there smiling and waving, Now, if you're finding this video helpful in any way, shape, or form so far, or you just enjoy the content, remember to hit that like and subscribe button. It just greatly helps me out and helps me pursue this. But diving straight into Loki, countering Loki requires a little coordination. The key is to identify and eliminate his clones quickly as they're the source of both his healing and damage output. You always want to focus on destroying his regeneration domain rune stones whenever you see them. They're relatively fragile with only having 100 HP each. Now, after engaging Loki, watch for his teleport ability. It has a relatively long cooldown of 15 seconds. This is one of the best times you can take him out as he's super vulnerable. Now, I will say his main weaknesses include limited self-defense options in close combat and reliance on having his clones alive for maximum effectiveness. Without his clones, his healing and damage output are significantly reduced. Now, with that being said, some of the best characters that actually counter him are characters like Black Panther who can quickly eliminate clones and pressure Loki's positioning. Hawkeye with his long range pressure forces Loki to consistently reposition his clone and easily eliminate the runestones, as well as Psylocke excels at eliminating the real Loki and his clones as well. I mean, generally speaking, a lot of these characters do extremely well against Loki. The main priority is that you just have to destroy his runestones and destroy his clones, then you really don't have to worry about this character. However, if Loki does copy another strategist ultimate, it's good to be aware of the counters for what Loki copied. So if he copied any of these strategists ultimate, then you should probably keep watching this video so you know how to deal with it. Now, Luna Snow is definitely one of the strongest characters in Marvel Rivals. Many players will have to play against Luna Snow. She has high damage potential and can quickly escape from enemies trying to pin her down, so it can be rather challenging to take her out. And she's also usually one of the top bans currently in Marvel Rivals for Season 1. With that being said, this is how you deal with her. Now, believe it or not, a duelist like Hawkeye is an extremely good counter to her. Now, Luna Snow, being a strategist, has one of the smaller health pools out of all the Marvel Rival heroes. This means she's particularly vulnerable to characters like Hawkeye who can take her down in one shot. Now, believe it or not, if Hawkeye has a 100% charged arrow and Luna Snow is in her ultimate, one perfectly placed arrow to Luna Snow's head will actually one-shot her even though she's in her ultimate form, which is honestly pretty insane if you think about it. Then of course you have flanking characters or dive characters that do extremely well, just like many of the other strategists. But just like Cloak and Dagger, Invisible Woman, you of course have the man, the myth, the legend, Magneto. Again, Magneto's ultimate can one-shot Luna Snow and her ultimate as well. The deal is though, Magneto's ultimate has to be charged up. I don't remember the exact charge amount, but I do know it can't just be like 0 charged. I would go with the general rule of thumb, at least being half charged, so 50%, then you could probably take her out. If not, then it's probably full charged and it should be a one-shot. Now you can also take her out of her ultimate if you're playing the Punisher, and while you're playing the Punisher, you pop your ultimate and focus all of your fire and attention directly at the ulting Luna Snow. Believe it or not, the Punisher will deal enough damage and shred through her ultimate health and quickly take her out. So if you don't want to continuously ban Luna Snow in higher lobbies, this is how you can pretty much deal with her. Now, even though she's not played as much, Mantis can still be rather annoying to play into, mainly because of her Spore Slumber ability and because of her ultimate ability as well. Now, to easily get rid of the Spore Slumber ability, all you have to do is shoot the after image of the hero and you'll quickly wake up your teammate. Now, there's actually a ton of ways to deal with Mantis' ultimate, and they're all pretty straightforward because generally speaking, it's not the best ultimate. I even did a Storm ultimate on top of Mantis when she was ulting, and I still managed to take her out. It's mainly for the fact because the character is so mobile in her ultimate form that she can be pretty annoying to deal with. So pretty much every damaging ultimate apart from Psylocke can pretty much get rid of Mantis, or essentially put her 1 HP that if another teammate were to shoot at her, then it will be over. Now she's a little too easy to take care of, so hopefully they do a little tweak so that she can be played maybe a little bit better. But of course, that's just my own opinion. What do you think in the comments down below? And last but not least, we have none other than the trash panda himself, Rocket Raccoon. Now, love him or hate him, he is a character that is highly played even in GM and up lobbies. Now, to deal with this trash panda accordingly, besides contacting your local animal control services, characters with high burst damage is usually the route you want to be going. So characters like Black Panther, Magik, you could throw Spider-Man in there if you really wanted to, or you know, you have characters like Psylocke, or even a character like Venom to lock them down into one place. It's all characters doing a ton of burst damage. Now, he does have a relatively large health pool, that only being 250, but because it's so low, he has a ton of movement. So characters with some sort of crowd control ability is also very good at keeping him tied down. And if you don't know what I mean by crowd control abilities, these abilities are things as stuns, sleeps, hooks, roots, whatever makes the character stop being mobile. Now, one of Rocket Raccoon's biggest strengths is the BRB system. This is a piece of utility that he throws down that grants armor, a jump boost, and a revive. Typically, if you're going against a Rocket Raccoon, you want to have some type of flanking character or a dive character to get into the enemy's backline and find this BRB system first. Now, once you destroy that, Rocket Raccoon's impact gets significantly lessened, meaning now all you have to do is take him out and it's done. Again, take out his respawn beacon first, then take him out, and that's how you counter Rocket Raccoon. Now, if you found this video helpful in any way, shape, or form, or you just enjoy my content in general, do me a huge favor and hit that like and subscribe button. It's the best way to help me out. And honestly, it helps me to keep this channel running. And if you want to help me out even further, you could hit that join button and consider becoming a YouTube member. I plan to have some amazing perks coming, whether that be early access to videos or, you know, viewer games or whatever. And make sure to check out Control. And if you do, make sure to use code DUCK at checkout for 10% off. But regardless, I can't thank you all enough for watching. I hope you have a great day, and I'll catch you in the next one.